Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Patrick Lee. Time for us to get into Midweek Motivation Live. It is Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. It's time for us to jump into this week's show. We're going to be getting political today. I hope you're ready for the ride. It could be fun, could be crazy, but hey, it is what it is. We have an election fixing to come up here shortly, and I'm going to give people a couple of minutes to log in here. We usually get started about now every Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock for Midweek Motivation Live. This is Patrick Lee, your host, and first time broadcasting from the new office downtown. And I hope this turns into something exciting and wonderful as we move forward each week. You can see a little bit of the view behind me of the downtown Amarillo scenery. Love that view. It's incredible to just stand down here and watch all of the action and business going on each day as we go about our daily work. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today. People are already liking, thumbs up, already got people watching. That's awesome. I want to talk to you a little bit today about political topics. You're like, oh no, some days he talks religion, some days he talks politics. What in the world is this guy getting into? Doesn't he know better than that? Good morning, Marlene. Good to see you on here watching already. Love that. But really what I want to ask you today is, what do you stand for? I watched the presidential debate, first presidential debate last night with President Trump and previous Vice President Joe Biden running on the Democratic ticket. And I will have comment on social media. I'm sure every one of you probably posted comments last night. I read literally hundreds of comments. My wife didn't have the stomach to watch the debates, but she had to come and ask me about the comments on the debates and kind of where people were leaning on as to what they thought. And I have opinions about that as well, but want to talk to you today and figure out kind of where you're at. What do you stand for? During the debates last night, it was apparent that both people were passionate about something. But when all was said and done, 90 minutes later, there were a couple of things that I felt like Trump was very passionate about, a couple of things that Biden seemed to be passionate about, but had a hard time articulating. And so I kind of want to know where you guys are at. I have something here I'm going to read about something a friend of mine sent. And this is going to be interesting. The comment is, what do you stand for? Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Are you a independent? Are you a grassroots kind of person that just says, I'm going to vote for whoever believes the way I believe on the things that I stand for? Good for you. That's the American way. And that's the rights that the Constitution of the United States give you. You can vote your conscience. You can vote the way that you want to, and no one has the power to control that. There are other people. Hey, Jim, good to see you on here as well. People tuning in, more people watching. I love that. Like and love the video. Share it with your friends and family around the world, and we'll be international. We'll be international. So anyway, we're already international. I love that. The show is shared in a couple of different countries that I know of so far already. I love that. That's great. Good morning, Christine. Hope that you're doing well. Love you out there in Oregon, and I hope y'all are blessed and doing well. So what do you stand for? That's a question we have to ask ourselves today. What do I stand for? Do I stand for political ideals that lean a little bit more to the left, or am I more conservative, and do I lean a little bit more to the right? From watching the debates last night, it seemed to be that the moderator is supposed to be an impartial and simply ask questions. In my opinion, so you know where I stand, I believe that the moderator, of course, leaned primarily towards the left side and threw a bunch of softballs to Joe Biden and virtually attacked President Trump. And I thought it was pretty disrespectful the way he was treated, the name calling, and I don't care much for that. But there were many people, hundreds and thousands of people, that commented during the debates and on social media that all seemed to agree on one point. It looked more like Trump was debating Chris Wallace and Joe Biden, or actually Chris Wallace more than Joe Biden, while Joe Biden looked at the camera and basically tried to use campaigning eyes, looking at the camera, trying to talk to the little man, like on the other side of the camera, instead of actually giving us answers for the things that we believe. Everyone has the right to have their own opinion. God bless America. And opinions are basically like elbows. Everybody has a couple of them. And that's about all they're worth, is their opinion. Good morning, Ross. Good to see you on here. Also, Sal, thank you for tuning in. Yes, we are talking about politics today. And people always say that the things you should never talk about if you want to be popular, right? Or if you want to be, widespread on social media in this public space is politics and religion. It's the easiest way to divide people, but my goal isn't to divide. My goal is simply to challenge you and ask you each week how to do better, how to be better in your life, and kind of understand what it is that you stand for. And now today we're doing that through a political topic. I hope that's okay with some of you, man, because Aaron Tippin said it years ago, right? He had a big famous country song out that said, "You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything." And I believe that's pretty true. You got to be your own man, not a puppet on a string. There are a lot of people that say, in the beginning that Donald Trump was just the puppet of the conservatives. And that's always say, exactly, Faith. I agree. Opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone has one, and they're pretty useless, and a lot like other things that are useless. So I literally felt last night like other people have said that Joe Biden is just a puppet. He and Kamala Harris. That's another whole topic on its own that people need to address. But they believe that whoever is in pulling the strings of Joe Biden, once Joe Biden is elected, if by some slim chance he gets elected, that he will simply be the puppet of the liberal left, and he will eventually be removed, and the person they want to be in that position will take over that position, and they will try to control the country. So everyone can have their own opinion, believe what they choose to believe. It's America. Not everyone is the same, and I know I'm not alone in my beliefs that what is happening now is insanity. These are some of the notes I have and some of the things that a friend of mine sent me. Some of the things happening now in our country that we talked about last night. Do we mask up? Do we wear masks because of coronavirus? Do we not? Do we go to church or do we not? Do we have peaceful protests or do we not? Do we allow peaceful protests to turn into riots and profanity-filled rants by crazy Antifa types or BLM types? I believe that personally, we've been told not to gather, hide in your house, defund the police, because the police are bad and the American people don't know what law and order really is, and that needs to be dictated to us. I don't know that I believe that at all. I believe this is the greatest country in the world, and that the people as a whole know the difference between right and wrong because we were taught that, right? Hopefully you believe the same way. So we've been told to defund the police, but I believe that, and this other person that shared this with me and a lot of other people is stating that the majority of people in America actually don't follow along with those viewpoints, that we believe in law and order, in law enforcement. We believe as a majority right now that the country is moving in a good direction. What do you think? Throw me a comment in the comments. Yeah. If it's a decent comment, I'll throw it up on the screen. If it's a profanity-laced comment, I will not. If it's hate speech, I will not. Generally, I don't get any haters on here. That must mean I'm not reaching enough people, because if you don't have haters, obviously, you're not as vocal as you need to be on a few topics. But I don't believe necessarily that the silent majority is going to stay silent for long. The amount of people that are showing up to the Trump rallies seemingly endless. I've posted a couple of videos lately of the people, the lines on the way into the Trump rallies, and then some photos of the Trump rallies themselves. And it's crazy the amount of people that President Trump draws to these rallies. The people that have wrapped their vehicles in Trump 2020 vinyl and are driving around the nation with American flags and Trump flags is astronomical. The amount of support that the president has is incredible, but that the right basically doesn't get airtime unless it's on social media. When you start looking at the mainstream media, I do believe that it is biased. I believe that many of you do as well. The mainstream media is biased against President Trump, and President Trump and his press secretary, I think, get a kick out of baiting them and using strategy to give them fodder for discussion that they really want them to hear. In the meantime, however, they are behind the scenes doing a lot of things for the country that don't necessarily align with what they are saying they're doing, and that's okay, because the president is a very strategic person. I think he's a very savvy businessman. The only successful people I know, and from reading about successful people throughout history, have all had multiple failures, and it's from those failures that you learn and you grow and you move forward. A person that's never made a mistake in life probably hasn't accomplished very much, right? I believe that. So as the political vehicle that is the mainstream media goes forward, they always continue in the last few years to lean more towards the left, and they actually have such hate speech and bad rhetoric for the president. So the thing that we have to decide in our own mind and heart is, what do we stand for? It's okay to just say, I stand for Trump 2020. I believe that there are many of you that say, hey, man, I'm all for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Some political figures have come out, and some Hollywood figures have come out in the last week or two and spoken of their support for Biden and Harris, and received some horrible backlash over that. There are a lot of other people that have come out in support of President Trump, and they will be black or they will be a Hollywood elite, and they are completely ostracized by their friends in Hollywood and in the media, the public eye. And I think that's atrocious. But if you don't come out and say who you are and what you believe in, what good are you? Are you the silent majority? And is it good enough to be a majority if that majority is silent? Like I said, we've been told to hide in our house, to mask up, don't go outside, don't gather together, defund the police. We don't get airtime, but the things that we also don't do as the silent majority, or the right wingers, as they call us, is we don't go burn things down or tear things up when we don't agree with what's going on. We don't riot in the streets. We go out and protest, yes. And we do go out and confront rioters, and I believe that we are called to do that. I'm reading your comment here, Faith, and I agree a lot with that comment. We need to unify the people, and both just seem to draw the line even more sharply. I agree. Both could have done a better job to try to stay on topic or denounce radical groups, and they skirted that issue. There is some truth to that. I believe Trump said 3 times when he was asked if he would denounce the white supremacists, he said, sure, I do that, sure, and was continuously interrupted on the topic while he was in the process of being asked what he would do and if he would do that. And then Wallace just kept talking, and that made it kind of hard. So when he did allow Trump to talk, Trump said, more so than denouncing them, he would support those who are outstanding for freedom and confronting those that are rioting and protesting. And I'm all for that. We should not stay silent and hide in our homes. We should go out and confront wrongdoing anytime we have the opportunity to do that. If we don't stand for something, we will fall for anything. And it seems like a very vast amount of people in America are falling for the liberal agenda. Biden tried to push some of that last night and get his points out there, some of his liberal talking points, and Trump did the same in standard Trump fashion, talking over Joe Biden and attacking everything that Joe Biden says. And many people said, that's the Trump I voted for. I need a man who is a man's man, who is a lion, not a lamb, who is going to do what it takes to call out weakness, to call out wrongdoing, to call out those people with their evil agenda, as he would say. So that's kind of the kind of president that we voted for. If you're a right winger, or if you're a more conservative person, the person that I'm personally going to vote for is a person that stands for human life. And that basically tells you who my vote goes for. I have said in the past numerous times that I was not going to get very political on social media, because it's it can be a death sentence. And a lot of people that I really value their opinion and trust said, Patrick Lee, you have a voice. You have a voice, and you also have influence with a few people, a couple of handfuls of people. And if you are a part of the sleeping giant, if you avoid the topic and simply don't speak up, if you don't let people know where you stand, what good does it make? What good does it do you to ask other people where they stand? I am a God-fearing man, a happily married Republican. I was registered a Democrat when I was 18. My parents were Democrats. I believe that 40 and 50 years ago, the Democrat Party was a little bit different than it is today. There are many times in the past that the conservative values have flown over to the Republican side, and then migrated a little bit more to the Democratic side, and well as a few Democratic policies that have changed from the Republican Party to be stronger in the Democrat Party. So I was registered as a Democrat, and it wasn't until I moved to Texas in my 20s that I changed my party to Republican when I saw the things that the Democrats stood for. So I'm not here to knock you if you're a Democrat, but there are simple things that I cannot stomach, those things being abortion. I cannot stomach abortion. I know people that have had abortions. My heart goes out to them. I pray for them. And many times of the people that have had these abortions are traumatized for life. Many suicides come out of that, but there are also many children that were not aborted that go on to do amazing things because their life was saved. And so that's the way I believe. I'm going to vote for the person that believes in the sanctity of life. That's the only thing I can do as a Christian, and what I believe a true American stands for. If you believe in the difference between right and wrong, if you believe in law and order, if you believe in the sanctity of human life, that life begins at conception. We are not just a mass of cells that cannot fend for itself. No animal can fend for itself if it was removed from the womb and just left there to fend for itself and live. Animals, mammals, humans, they all need to be given the ability to be born and then taken care of until they can take care of themselves, correct? So I believe in the sanctity of human life, that life does begin at conception, and that every human has the right to be born and given a chance to live. So that's, of course, the way I stand. So we want to protect the unborn. We believe in, hey, God bless America. I don't necessarily believe that President Trump is the most righteous man in America. And but neither are you. Neither am I. I'm an abject failure when it comes to always doing right or wrong. I try to do the best that I can, and I try to encourage and admonish other people to do the best that they can, but I fail regularly. And it is because of that fact that I have a Savior who is Christ the Lord, and that he came to save all who would believe in him. Do I believe that Biden hurt his standing with the left followers by modifying his answer that he believed in law and order? Absolutely. Yes, I do. There were a couple of basic black and white, right and wrong questions that Trump turned around and asked Biden, that Biden actually gave a better answer than I thought he would when he said that he believed in law enforcement. Totally surprised me. Totally surprised me, because so many people on the left do not. They believe that police departments need to be defunded. One of the things that people don't understand, however, at one point I would like to make, defunding the police does not mean abolishing the police departments. It simply means not giving them additional funds on top of the funds that they already have to do a lot of things that other people may not agree with. So defunding the police does not always mean not having police, period. But the people that would protest and say all cops are bad, all cops are crooks, we need to get rid of the cops, we need to have our own civil law enforcement type people in the neighborhoods, neighborhood watches, I believe that turns to anarchy overnight. I don't believe it's a good idea at all. I believe that Trump stands for law and order. I believe that the states, according to the Constitution, one of the things that I'm getting into more, I have a Constitution and that I carry a pocket Constitution. And now at my local church, I am leading a class on the Constitution. One of the best ways to learn about something is to teach it, right? So now I'm teaching on the Constitution and going back to history class to learn what the Constitution is all about and the spirit in which it was written. A great class taught through the Patriots Academy by David Barton, and an amazing class. So I teach that on Monday nights, and I believe that the Constitution does give us rights. And when you follow along with the spirit of that, law and order is one of those rights. We believe to be the government's job is to help us have the freedom to go out and achieve or have the liberty that God gave us as an inalienable right, but that also that their job is to protect the body as a whole. And when they fail to do that or believe that we need to abolish law and order, I can't stand for that. Just can't do it. We respect law enforcement. We obey the law. We appreciate our first responders. We appreciate our military. Trump has invested highly into the military, where other presidents in the past have depleted our forces. I do remember under a previous president where hundreds and hundreds of officers in our military were relieved of their duty and stripped of that. I don't believe in that. So we appreciate our military. My dad was in the Navy. Most of my family members were in the military, and probably yours too, right? We believe in our military. We love what they stand for. We know that there are some times that they are involved in things that we can't support 100%, and we don't know the inner workings of that. We just get what the media tells us. But as a whole, we appreciate our military. We support our military. We support law enforcement. We, the people, are the backbone of this country. We have rights that were given to us by our creator, not by our government. The government is for the people, of the people. Yes, it does. Obey the government. God is the one who has put it there. Good comment. I believe that. Let's post this. There's a good comment. The Bible actually speaks on the issue of following the current law and government. Romans 13, 1-2 says, obey the government. God is the one who will put it there. There is no government anywhere that God has not placed in power. Those who refuse to obey the law of the land are refusing to obey God, and punishment will follow. Great comment. Love that. Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Christine. Edith says, I choose life, as do I. Thank you all so much for the comments. I appreciate that. One of the things I want to ask you now is ask yourself this question: where do you want our country to go? And how do we want to get there? So if you believe that the Republicans are the sleeping giant, or that we are the silent majority, is it time for us to remain silent? Or is it time for us to speak louder? In sales, I've always adhered to this statement. I actually read, you're going to think this is funny and Patrick Lee is crazy, but I actually read this on a sugar packet 30 years ago. And it says something like this. It says, he who has a thing to sell and goes and whispers down a well is far less likely to earn the dollars as the man that climbs a tree and hollers. So is it, it's just a little joke, but it's actually done me well throughout my career in sales and many different things. We believe that all lives matter, not just black lives, yellow lives, red lives. I have a lot of American Indian blood in me. I'm Irish, Black Dutch. My wife has German, Italian, a lot of different nationalities in her. That's the melting pot that is America, right? But we have to ask ourselves these questions. Where do we want the country to go? All different nationalities, races, and skin colors live here. We all bleed red. All life matters. That born life and that unborn life, the black life, the white life, the yellow life, the red life, the brown life, it doesn't matter. Okay, all life matters. When we say all life matters, it doesn't mean we're contradicting that black lives matter. And we're not saying that white lives matter any more than black lives. We're simply saying you say black lives matter. We say all life matters. And that offends you if you're on the left because it's racist, but it's not racist. We're inclusive of all races, and we want all races to have the same equity or equality and ability to move forward. We get that, and be born. So we get that. The people that believe that are the backbone of this nation. We believe in right and wrong. We believe in law and order. We believe that we have rights given to us by our Creator, and we have the right to pursue those rights, to enjoy those rights. Good comment, Christine. If the government commands us to do something anti-God, I will follow God's law. Our responsibility, number one, is to God above man, right? So man is not responsible for our salvation. And at the end of an earthly life, if you simply follow and adhere to man, your life would end, and that would be the end of it. Those of us that believe in God believe in an afterlife. And if we follow God's law and do accept his son Jesus as our Savior, that we will go on to heaven and live with him. That's my belief. I believe it's many of your beliefs too. But you have to ask yourself this. Yes, we're going to follow God's law. Do I believe that Trump will follow along a lot more with God's law than Biden? Absolutely. I have not seen one photo of a group of some of the largest evangelical leaders in the nation praying for Joe Biden when Obama was the president. I never once saw that happen under his administration. On the contrary, I saw many times that prayer was eliminated. The National Day of Prayer was eliminated. Prayer and praise music in the White House was eliminated, but Muslim leaders were allowed to come and stay at the White House and visit with Obama, but the president of Israel was not. He was ignored. Many evangelical leaders were not. They were ignored. Franklin Graham was snubbed. Billy Graham was snubbed. And then you get Trump in office, and every major evangelical leader in the nation comes together regularly for prayer for our president, which is what we are called to do as Americans. We are called to pray for our leaders, right? So that's what I believe we should do, pray for our leaders. I just don't see that happening with Biden and Kamala Harris in the White House. I don't see it happening. Final question of the day. Who do you think is more capable of getting us there, where we want the country to go? Do we want the country to abide in more peace, to be more prosperous, to be a more godly nation? Sure we do. How do we want to get there? And who do I think is more capable of getting us there? That's a decision that you're going to have to make. Another comment here before we go. Faith says, what are your thoughts on systemic racism? Do you believe that the earlier laws have undermined the ability for minorities today to maintain ownership in suburban areas, former redlining in real estate, for example? I believe that the laws that are in place for real estate now, I am a real estate agent. I've been doing this for over 7 years. There are many things that used to happen in real estate that are illegal, and there are laws in place for that now. What do I believe about systemic racism? I have so many friends of other nationalities that are blessed. You and I both probably faith have friends that are black, brown, and yellow that are blessed. And I believe that they have an incredible work ethic. And I believe that has there been systemic racism in our nation? Yes, I believe, however, that there has been systemic racism in all nations, and including the nations that have 6 or 8 or 10 different nationalities of black people. So there are so many instances in history of the American Indians enslaving entire other nations of Indians. So there were slaves in all different nationalities. There have been the Muslim nation that have enslaved entire races of people. Go back and study history, the Crusades, the Barbary Coast pirates, where these people come from, the Zulu nation, and the people that they enslaved. So is there racism? There is racism in all nationalities, even among other shades of the same color. There are also, so yes, have we made great strides in getting better at that today? I believe that we have. The people I know of other colors that have become successful have done it, from what I understand, most of them have said the same way that you or I would. It's called go to school, get a good education. Keep your education balanced with the Word of God. Have a great work ethic. Keep your nose clean. Walk like you know where you're going, and act like you got some sense. Study hard, make great relationships, and apply yourself. And if you do those things, you can become successful. If you want to blame other people for your failure in life, I say it on here all the time. When you have one finger pointing away from you, you have 3 more pointing back at you. You can say the man is trying to keep a brother down. And I've heard that because I grew up in the 70s. That was one of the most famous things to be said in the 60s and 70s. You're just the man trying to keep a brother down. I don't believe that. I don't believe that the man is always trying to keep a brother down. I believe that good things come to people who work hard, who treat other people well, and develop good relationships. And if you won't take the time to do those things, then I can't say that you deserve to have the same amount of blessing or success as the person that does apply those principles, because the principles are all laid out for us in the Constitution. There are so many people of color that are against the left, that believe the way that most Republicans believe, and that the way to success has been through hard work and application of great principles. That's what I believe. So do I believe in systemic racism? I believe that it is there. I don't necessarily believe that the earlier laws have undermined our ability for minorities today to maintain ownership in suburban areas. I have never in my 7 years come across an instance to where someone said, we don't want black people living in our neighborhood. I've had, on the other side of that, however, there have been a lot of, I've worked with people of all different colors, and I still do. Most of my clients today are all different races in a melting pot of Amarillo. I have had people of color that have told me areas they don't want to live in, however. And some of those are fear-based comments. Some of those are based on other different things. So socioeconomic status is one of the bigger factors in real estate today that I come across. People that have no idea how real estate works, how finances work, or what it takes to qualify for a home loan, be able to buy that house, and then once they do buy the house, maintain a property. Without responsibility and maintenance, you will lose your home. I've had that instance happen a few times where we help people buy a house or a first-time homeowner, and within 9 to 10 months, they're being foreclosed on because they don't make the payments, even though their bank account says they can. So I believe that the responsibility is on all of us, me and you and the American public, to do the right things, make the right relationships, and be responsible with our resources to do good and to do right. And if we do those things, we all have the same ability to become successful. If we burn bridges and we post or place blame on others, we will always come to ruin in our own life. I hope this has helped you today. This has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. Ask yourself that question. Where do we want the country to go? Where do we want to see it be in 5 years? And who do we think is more capable of getting us there? That's my question to you. There will be another debate next month, and the time for getting ready to vote is upon us. If you were able to get in on the early vote, God bless you. I hope that you did that. And if not, when it's time to vote, I hope that the best thing you can do for your country as a responsible citizen is vote. I don't care who you vote for. I want you to vote your conscience. My conscience says I choose life every time. Great comment, Jim. I believe that. I don't believe in the shedding of innocent blood. That brings up all this other myriad of questions about war and things like that we don't have time to get into today. But I will choose life every time. I'm with you on that, Jim. That is my conscience. You've seen the other people I've had on here in the past. Nikki Gregory, the leader of the Agents Act campaign, the nonprofit against child trafficking and child slavery. I'm an ambassador for Agents Act as well. In my comments below this video, you'll see a link to my digital business card, and you can always click on that at every time, and you can watch a video about Agents Act and the nonprofit that I support and am an ambassador of, the Save Our Children and Save the Children hashtags that you can put in all of your messages on social media. I believe that pedophiles are criminals and that they should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. I believe that life is precious, that everyone has the right to live, even a baby, a child. None of us should be enslaved in any way, shape, or form. The best way we can fight that is get involved, let our voice be heard, and vote. Vote your conscience. Vote for the person that you believe is going to take the country in the direction you want to see it go. This has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. I hope this has helped some of you today, maybe to get you off of the fence and out of being a part of a silent majority, and maybe have become more of a vocal majority. I believe that we should all climb a tree and yell at the height of our lungs, at the top of our lungs, who we support and why, and go with your conscience. Always do the right thing. You guys have a great week. Love each and every one of you. Like and share this video if it has helped you in any way, shape, or form. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.